Hello. So this video is going to be about political correctness, China and Cheddar Man. So let's get started. Because one of my subscribers asked me for my opinions about Cheddar Man. And although he sent the message a couple of weeks ago, I only just read it and I thought, well, I might as well do something anyway. No doubt what prompted him was the huge fuss there's been with the assertion that Cheddar Man might have had blue eyes, but his skin was dark to black, whatever that means. Now, this whole thing about black skin and white skin is a total mystery to me. And I just want to give you a few illustrations. First of all, I would be classified as white. And here is a white piece of paper. I hope that you can see a difference between the colour of my face and this piece of paper. Does anyone watching this think that I actually do have a white skin? If you do, I suggest you seek medical attention, either for your eyesight or your mental capacity. Now, I used to do portrait painting. And just to prove that I know what I'm talking about, I'm going to put up here a self-portrait I painted when I was about 30 years old. And now a coloured pencil sketch of one of my sons in his infancy. I can assure you that when mixing paint for human skin or using crayons, what you need is yellow, red and blue. That's it. Yellow, red and blue. And you just mix them in different proportions for different skin tones. Perhaps having evidence of my skill with a paintbrush, you will take it from me that there is no such thing as white skin and there is no such thing as black skin. The only time you would need white or black would be for the whites of the eyes and the pupils of the eyes. That's it. Human skin is a variation of brown, sometimes lighter, sometimes darker, but always brown. However, people with a political agenda will change the characteristics of various racial groups to bring them into conformation with whatever is their current political correctness. There was a time, for instance, when it was assumed that modern humans started off in China. It's a theory which the Chinese embraced with great enthusiasm, of course. And even though the theory has been knocked about a bit by the out of Africa findings, you still see this sort of thing in Chinese anthropological museums. Oh, darn, there's somebody at the door. I'm going to have to close this down. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about the cut. All right, where was I? Chinese anthropological museums. This picture I'm going to put up here is from the Zhukudian Museum in China, and it purports to illustrate Peking man. Note that although the hominid depicted is Neanderthal-like, the general features are ever so slightly mongoloid. That was their take on Peking man. So with Cheddar Man. Now, If humans emigrated from Africa, there's a good chance that the original people would have been dark-skinned. That's sort of obvious. You can't spend your life wandering about the African savannah under the blistering sun in what used to be called a state of nature without the protection of a good thick layer of melanin in the basal layer of your epidermis. However, in the low-light conditions of Northern Europe, that melanin would be a positive disability, and I mean a disability. Without adequate vitamin D, a dark-skinned person in Northern Europe gets rickets, amongst other problems. The females do not develop a proper pelvic structure and die in childbirth, while the males grow up bow-legged and not much good at chasing after elk, so they would have had a good deal of trouble attracting any sort of a mate or providing for a family. The lighter skinned ones would breed more successfully, producing ever lighter skinned offspring, generation on generation. I should think that the Cheddar man, who is after all only 10,000 years gone, would have been quite a few generations down the line from the original emigrants to Northern Europe. He might have been browner than modern Europeans, but I can't believe he was as dark-skinned as the latest pictures show. However, that's really sort of immaterial. In my poor opinion, the illustration which is doing the rounds is an attempt by some anthropologist with a social engineering attitude to give his, or maybe her, perceived racist Brexiteers a bit of a shock. However, also, in my poor opinion, I don't think it's actually shocked anyone. It certainly didn't shock me, and I can't believe how much of a fuss this has caused in the press. Only in the press, by the way. It strikes me as one of those manufactured controversies that papers such as The Guardian like to whip up to confirm their own prejudices about the sort of people who read other papers than The Guardian. What's important to our understanding of Cheddar Man is what we can find out about his society, his food sources, his creative skills, his life expectancy, and the sort of civilization he and his people started to build from those Cheddar caves. His skin colour is about as important to any of the above as the colour of his internal organs, which, like a modern European's internal organs and an African's internal organs and an East Asian's internal organs, are all absolutely the same.